The bartender, if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in, they weren't old enough to drink. So John had the bartender throw them out, and melody has to come into play. So you obviously heard, did you hear that?
Yeah. Did you hear it, is what it said.
Did you hear it? And so I do keep track of where we are, so that way when you guys get your notes back, is all relevant to where that space was.
Okay.
So, all right, let's go learn some real history instead of talking about football players and ponies.
Okay.
Standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So even when I do get people that want to stay back here and try a spirit box session back here, I can't prove anything with the slaves because there's no records.
Right.
There's very vague records of a couple of first names and some letter books, but that's about the extent of it. However, by the way, again, I'm going to withhold information. I'm not going to give you questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse?
Okay.
Kind of mentality.
Okay.
So who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which Chuck is actually coming through. So you're getting the point there. So especially when you're talking about people from the 1700s, most of these people all have the same damn name. But anyway, back to the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. That's a big deal for us. I hate politics. We're going to move on. If I don't bring it up, it's going to... You got something going on over there?
Yeah, it's flickering a little bit. And I feel like I just... Like, do you guys ever actually, like, see ghosts? Like, visually?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And there's also our shadow.
The shadows
It
will
wasn't
pick
the
up.
shadow, I'm not moving. It just seems like there's something wispy between, like, the tree and the wall. Like, that where you can kind of see through beyond to the building behind it.
Mhm.
Like, kind of in that area, just for a quick glimpse, just seemed like there was a little... Like, some little, almost kind of like a puff of smoke kind of blowing past.
The funny thing is one of the best thermal image pieces I have came up just on the other side of that wall. There were 2 normal people walking by. You could see, obviously, the heat signature of their faces. They walked by. 10 seconds later, 2 ghosts walked by. Like, cold as cold can be. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm getting this, like, V shape and then flat. It's like flat.
It's picking up the top of the wall.
Is it?
Oh.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, that was...
I was going to say, it might be that 2 little, like, pillar post things on the wall over there.
So we're not going to be talking, if I don't bring up the son and the nephew and their signer of the Constitution bit, they're going to tell you in a very ignorant way that we didn't give them recognition. So,
I just heard really rich.
They were really rich. So it's vague. Again, I'm not going to be writing that one down until something else pops up about it. They probably wouldn't consider themselves rich, but they were definitely rich. But we're going to talk about Eliza, because she has a much cooler story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial days of when she got married, like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards. The reason why is because her husband was over double her age when they married. Creepy age gap then, creepy age gap now. However, she married him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time. He wants to see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put, got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country. So she did marry him out of love. There's no foul play. This is a true love story. Again, not all ghost stories are scary. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You've been in town for at least a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. None of us are wearing it right now, just so you guys know. But when she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She learned from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, believe it or not. So when she learned how to keep it going, she learned how to make the dye, moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of her dad and said, hey Dad, our rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial days. That is something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why we're here. Now, the actual EMF that I'll be looking for that usually comes up in this location is an average of 18 to 22. That is astronomically high for any outside location. We have gotten triple digits in this location. I want to say last night we got all the way up to a 79. And again, this is the space where I got that 214. So I'll be keeping an eye on this guy, but you're going to focus on one small set of questions, and it's going to be all wrapped around her death. She's pretty open about talking about it. We're still pretty close to a tragedy that happened in the family, so I'm trying to keep this questioning pretty small. How old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Okay. So those are like the 4 majors. Like, so the how old, what happened, where are you buried, what president. Like, those are the majors. It's almost like a who, what, when, where, why kind of mentality. So again, we're gonna basically take a few laps. Are you recording already?
I have been, yeah,
Okay,
this
good.
whole time.
So we're just basically gonna take 2 quick laps here. One of my promises to Eliza, and I'll be honest, I was looking to retire this space. I already told you I switch this up every year, but this place keeps drawing me back. I was getting very ignorant ghost hunters on your guys' end, being disrespectful. So I was getting very nasty, disembodied voices coming through. So I was gonna take it out and just be done with it, but it's still one of the strongest places I think I've ever had the pleasure of investigating, especially on a regular basis. So hopefully we're going to get a lot of EMF. You're going to hear a lot of things that are going to be relevant to the Pinckneys and hopefully get some answers to her death.
Okay.
So Eliza, this is Brittany. She's listening to you. We may have seen you moving around already. So if you could just be so kind, we're going to make this nice and quick. We're going to take 1 lap around where your home used to be, and you can give us all the answers to whatever you would like us to know. So you know how this works, Eliza, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So go ahead and crank up your volume. You don't need to use 2 if you don't want to, but again, it's completely up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
She just rattles off the questions. She asks the questions, correct?
Whoever.
Okay.
What?
You ask the questions.
And some
Or
people
I ask
aren't
them.
comfortable
Am I
asking
supposed to be like vocalizing the questions?
things. Not necessarily.
Okay. Because
So-
I was gonna say I might not remember all of them. I have some pregnancy brain.
Who was
going
a
on right now.
pallbearer? What president was a pallbearer at
What
her
president was a
funeral?
pallbearer?
What
Where
year
did she die? Where is she buried?
Where is she buried?
What did she die of? And
You also
what
have to-
year?
We could do what year. That can come
Oh,
up
that
too.
wasn't one that you asked, sorry.
Okay.
But we do get that answer.
Okay.
But also keep in mind, and I just got a 3.1, that when I have my full 10 to 12 people, there's at least 7 communication devices running.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where the answers are going to go, and it's not like I haven't been here every day for the past 4 years.
Right.
She knows what we're going to ask.
Okay.
The answers start to just pop up. So again, it's going to be every little thing that you, no matter how silly it is, just tell us what you're hearing.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of be writing things down that are relevant, and then I'll show you how it's relevant when we wrap up the space.
Okay.
So again, we'll make 1 quick full lap here, nice and slow. She heard a phrase earlier. Do you remember what it was? You heard something earlier. Do you remember what it was?
Did you hear it? Where to next?
Oh.
And lips. Those were the big ones that I picked out.
Wasn't it like rich people?
Oh, and then really rich, too.
And Western.
And Western over by the barn.
I don't think the Western's going to be relevant, just because we're literally on
Died hit by a car. I mean, that would make sense for 1700, but
No, but
Could be
we're
a
pretty
carriage.
close to,
It could be a
Big John's as well.
Could be the equivalent.
Could be bleed over from Big John's. I love when the lot is actually empty. There are motion lights that are, like as we walk by, they're going to go off. Just kind of have that.
So as I look at this in real time, is there anything specific that I should be trying to look for? Just like almost like a stick man?
So when you see like a full figure that look like me in there,
Yeah.
normally I try to keep it in frame, but we want to try to get an interaction. Like, hey, if you're Eliza, raise your right hand, kind of stuff. Like, I want an interaction.
Okay,
with it.
and so I can talk to
Oh, yeah.
Eliza too. Okay,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as we're respectful,
Sure.
she'll respond.
sure. Hey, Eliza. Hey, Eliza, we don't mean any harm here. Just wanted to say hi.
totally surreal.
Someone's sitting on. This looked like someone. It might be just tracking that post.
The blood of Jesus.
You see
Some
all of like
people.
the window mess that's over there.
So
It's
all
gonna pick
this
up
people.
all the-
That's
It's
okay.
picking up all the different points. Of,
Gotcha.
Like window to window. And
okay.
Eliza, anything you want us to know tonight? Brittany is listening.
Hey, Eliza. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Eliza, if that's you, please raise your right hand. Can you wave your right hand, Eliza? Eliza, did you like to play in a tree? Did you fall out of a tree? Have you ever... Oh yeah, we shouldn't do this and this. I was seeing what looks exactly like a... Do trees ever kind of throw off, like, actually looking like a person?
Trees
like a full-blown
are not
person?
your best friend with that guy at all. Simply because
it looked like an actual person
Yeah.
moving their arm. Okay, so it wasn't just like a random. It literally looked like a person.
All the leaves are in front of another leaf, so it's going to always try to make it look like a person.
Oh, okay.
I talked to the developer of this to kind of see how it was going to work out for us, and I basically told him, like, we work outside. You know, it's Karis. So he said,
Okay, so
leave
don't
trees,
trust the trees.
Never trust trees.
Okay, because I was flipping out there for a minute because it looked like, well, now it's not.
Prince something. Andre something.
Hey, Eliza. We're just here to check out your space. Do you know? Would you be willing to tell us who the president was that was a pallbearer at your funeral?
President.
What color?
Who was the pallbearer?
Who was the pallbearer, Eliza?
I don't know. Hospital. $1 million.
So let's go ahead. We're not getting a whole lot out of her end, so let's go ahead and go back to the back and kind of get this one wrapped up. Because even the readings I'm getting aren't like super high. Just so you have an idea, when that lightning flashed earlier, like it jumped up to 27.8.
Okay.
I didn't write it down because it's obviously coming from the lightning. However, I did get a 27 point something and then a 31 point something just in the middle there. So that was probably the extent. So I mean, we definitely went above that 18 to 22 average that I normally see here. So just kind of keep in mind, your microwave or your TV is about 40 to 60, and we got it all the way up to 31. So almost the amount of electricity that comes out of your TV set. So you just weren't giving me enough clues that were saying, like, hey, we got something going on here. Even though, like, you're getting used to listening to it.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I like to come here as one of the first locations is because this place is so active, you're just missing shit in real time.
Okay.
You've never done this before.
Yeah.
So the hope here is that when I go through it, I'm going to find probably the 5 to 10 missing pieces of what is, actually
So
there.
this is recording then? Okay.
And it's not recording you, just the radio.
Okay.
That's the nice thing.
Gotcha.
So when you get this recording back, it's just going to be radio sweeping, and then my markers are going to be right below the recording of whatever I found.
Okay.
So this kind of covered the answers. Oh, you can go ahead and stop your video. Yeah, 365 days a year. I'm gonna take holidays off. You know, obviously if it's raining, I'm not coming out.
Yeah.
Vacation is too expensive. Like last night, it was literally like on the fence. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to go to work and do this or not. I had a full team last night, so I'm texting everybody at 6 o'clock.
Storming last night?
It was supposed to storm really bad.
Gotcha.
So, but it was coming, it was going, it was coming, it was going. I'm like, guys, we're just gonna roll the dice. Let's do this. So we'll stop right about here. So if you ever feel like you walk into a spider web and you don't see anything there, it's not a spider web, just so you have that idea. Our last location has done that to me at least twice now that I can remember for sure. There's never a spider web there, but I always get spider web feeling while I'm there, and I'm glad we're using that tonight because hopefully the last time, or I thought I felt something on my hand, we had a person standing there touching my hand.
Oh my gosh.
As I was brushing it off. It's kind of like I couldn't shake the feeling, like it was just all over me. Like it was just crazy. So, yeah.
That was last night?
No, that was about a month and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Last night we did an Estes with the AI piece, so we were all sitting on the bench. And it's always when I have a group like this where I'm not going to sit down and do the Estes method. But every tour comes down here. I'm sure you guys just saw the big large tour at the top. But we all tell the same story. This is what I'm retiring this year, so this is going to be the last year I come down here. Even though this is actually one of my favorite places in all of Charleston. It's the most photogenic in my opinion. So it's always gorgeous. It's always perfectly lit.
It's pretty.
So this is Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Duelers Alley because this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston.
Oh.
So it's kind of a happy story.
Okay.
We're gonna get into it. Not everything is dark and despair.
Right.
A little bit of despair, but we'll get into that. But anyway. So the story, I'm going to obviously give you a lot more detail than normal campfire marshmallow ghost tours because we're ghost hunting. You need to know what some of those keywords are. So here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're standing here, it's not coincidence, it's part of his name. We get it all the time.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a shit ton of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's cash, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. He's going to start his medical practice down here because he just graduated med school. You guys get the point. On his way into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a good start to his way into town, but somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen because he knew the coachman. The person walking by was named Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. We were getting the letters R-I all the time through a regular spirit box, like what you're using, like somebody spelling something out, but I wanted to verify it, so I bought a new device. It's called an Envoy, and it's basically a digital Ouija board. It uses EMF detection, just like the device in my pocket, to stop a cursor going over the alphabet on specific letters when there's an EMF spike. I can't tell you how many times I've mentioned the name Ralph Isaacs, and R-I shows up immediately. So we've had it for about 6 months now, and we've had it at least 4 or 5 times, so just on average. Anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. Stay with some friends of mine, rent a room, and you'll be safe. The doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. She got wind of this, and she's going to be moving down from Rhode Island so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. What I'm going to tell you is that every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. Ours is a doctor. I'm just going to point that out now, which is part of the reason why I'm going to retire the story, because it is a big cliche. However, there is proof of this one. We're going to get into that. Hopefully we get some tonight. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because now the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats, just the way the hierarchy of Charleston works back then. So they're talking about a play on the way home. They went to see Richard III from Shakespeare, and Dr. Ladd thought the new actress was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turned into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, and it gets very ugly, and they went their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town. He went to the newspaper. He put an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad and rebutted with, let's go to Duelers Alley. Let's settle this once and for all. So they came down. They took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. handful of his friends. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So obviously the doctor didn't die, drops to the ground. His friends pick him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. Why did he refuse medical treatment? He's a doctor. Gunshot wounds in 1786 are a lot different than what we have now. So he's probably just trying to bleed it out, the lead poisoning from that gunshot wound. Every tour will tell you to listen for the whistles while you're down here. When that air conditioner is not running, it is probably one of the quietest places in all of Charleston, no matter what day or time it is. Saturday afternoon, busy East Bay Street, can't hear it over here. It's the quietest thing ever. Yeah, we have a lot of foliage in here. That's why I always look down the center.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I keep getting the
building
taller building. Yeah.
So I will tell you, we've gotten the word whistle down here on a spirit box. We've had it on my word list. We've heard whistling down here. We've had whistling parts of songs, and then the word doctor. We've gotten things about the doctor specifically. Obviously, you're getting the point. Kneecap, gunshot, all of the detailed things. One of the pieces that we have been getting lately, or haven't been getting lately, is surprising, is his birthdays, because it was just pretty recent, and we were getting it all through like April, May, June, and then all of a sudden it stopped, and I was super weird, like, because it was in July. Like, this is super weird, we're not getting it right now. But at the same time, I actually got kicked out of here. So let me tell you about that, because there's a reason why we're going to the next place that we are. If you're going to try this on your own and turn on your voice recorders, when are you guys going to Myrtle Beach? Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. So if you ever come back here and you want to walk through the alley and listen for whistles, turn on the voice recorders from your phone and walk all the way through it. I can't take you all the way through. Here's why. But if you do that and you do capture something in the background, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen is going to throw a whistle down the alley. We all do it. Again, that's part of the reason why I want to get rid of the stories, because everybody comes down here. I like to go to the spaces people don't always go to. But anyway, the alley didn't go all the way through from the way we came in. There was a wall halfway between us and Cumberland Street. So that's because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It used to be called Cow Alley. I just explained that Ouija board device for you. We actually had the word cow spelled out for us while we were here last night. So as I was explaining this, I was kind of like, oh, no shit, no deal. Like I acted like it was like no big deal, like I expected it. And everyone's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, this is welcome to my world. But anyway, so the alley all the way down at the end, those bricks down there are older than the ones we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child and fingerprint swipes and others. Off to the left. I used to take people all the way through the alley when I first started giving tours around Charleston. And I'd always show off the handprint, no matter the diversity, because we all need to see how far we've come from slavery. However, everybody wants to try to use their devices around that brick. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not going to be there. It's the last place you're going to find him. Just like we talked about earlier, right? So, November 26th, 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around that brick, waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along, just because I know nothing's going to happen, and it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know I was out of bounds for where tours are allowed to go. So the new owner came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great. Yeah, because her dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work on Thanksgiving simply because I worked for Walmart for a good part of 20 years of my retail management career. You guys can feel my pain. But I don't do Thanksgiving anymore. The next day, I called my partner and I told him what was going on. I don't have him anymore. I got rid of him. But anyway, I told him what happened. He said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the limit. Otherwise, you got to reroute the group. I decided to avoid the whole situation. I'm going to reroute the group. So, told my team, I don't believe in the next story. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're talking about pirates next. So, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I went, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We get up there, I told them a little bit I did have about piracy, which wasn't much because I only had a day to research. And then somebody hears the number 300 on another spirit box. I write it down, I research it. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720.
Whoa.
The exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial.
Huh.
So for you guys, like, yeah, you guys are looking at me like, oh shit, that's really awesome. I was pissed about it. Here's why. As a master's degree in creative writing, I still need facts and data when I'm writing fiction. So for me, pirate stories are based off pirate lore. That's a problem for me. That means more reading to verify what we have going on. We definitely need facts and data for what we're doing out here. I can't just willy-nilly this. I need proof and to be able to verify. So I've read more damn pirate books since that day, trying to verify everything that we're capturing over here in hopes that everything we're getting is legit. the piece that I'm putting together for you at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources on every single line that I'm going to throw at you. A lot of it's going to be keyword kind of signatures, but it's also not a prominent English woman where we're going to have to tiptoe around certain dates. This is a kick-ass female pirate we're going to be discussing next. I want us to poke the bear, and hopefully we're going to get some answers. We will be able to spread out like what we did over back there. But before we leave the space, because I'm hoping that we're going to get bleed over from here over there as well. The gate, there's a reason why I stop here. Not everybody knows why this whole thing is here. I told you that the alley didn't go through this way. In the event there was a loser to the duel, this was the shortcut to get over to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street and then double back to be able to get to the cemetery to go drop off the dead body. This is what I call the death gate, even though the wrought iron probably wasn't there, probably until the early 1900s. But you can definitely see, it's weird. We don't normally get one single letter.
M for Matthias.
My last name is McGurr as well, so I want to see what came before that. Impulse. Yeah, hold on. The name Emily showed up twice. Does that mean anything?
That's my sister.
That's his sister.
Is she alive?
Yes.
She's a hot mess, though.
Well, that's also my dog's name. One of my dog's names. So I was kind of like surprised to see it show up twice. Normally when something shows up twice, it's usually like, hey, pay attention to me kind of thing.
Significant.
Yeah. So like you heard the name John and I had the name John. So again, that's obviously significant to Big Johns. But again, just very, very weird that the name Emily showed up twice. The name Pam, does that mean anything to you guys? Okay.
Well,
Sisters, or my mom's
your mom
sister-in-law,
has a friend named,
and a friend named Pam.
has
I'm
a friend
looking
named
for people
Pam
that are
and
not alive.
sister-in-law.
Oh, that are not alive.
No.
I hate to be that bold, but
I gotcha.
we're ghost hunting.
No.
Sure, no.
Not for me.
All right. And the name Jaden just came up. I hate when newer
Our
names
daughter's
show.
name is Jade.
Jade.
This is Jaden.
Yeah,
Oh,
not that. No.
Not that. Jade. It's close though.
It is. So weird. Anything going on with your sink right now?
No.
No.
Look at the word sink. I don't know. Just a weird list. We did get the word grave when we were back at Pinckney Mansion site and the name John. Word white. So weird. This is a weird list. We're up to 56 terms already, just so you guys know
Okay.
how that's working. But anyway, we're going to go up and around the corner. Have you heard anything while we've been here? You've been focused on me.
I've been focusing on you. I turned it down a little bit.
Perfect.
So
That's what most people do.
Yeah.
I always ask before we leave the space.
my ADHD is like really having a hard time with both.
You know, it's
so
like I work in a co-working office. When I said I have an office down here, I only pay for a desk. So when I go in there, nobody's there. I got the whole place to myself. Everybody's offices are locked up. I got a full kitchen in there. There's couches. I have a podcast room to record with. But their internet was out on Friday, which means there's no music playing in there right now. It is actually kind of a creepy place walking around there in complete silence. I'm like, what's weird? Like, what's different? Because obviously, I actually took a few days off because we had to move. But I went back and I'm like, oh, shit, they didn't have internet. Why is it so quiet in here? So I, of course, log into my computer. Everything's working fine. I'm like, they must have not got the music back up and running. But again, it's a brand new space, and it's very, like, my daughter calls it aesthetically pleasing to, like, the new millennial type thing.
Yeah.
She loves going in there because she can use the podcasting room for her auditions for...
that was my foot. Sorry, I got a mosquito bite. I'm working on itching.
It sounded like over there, though. Did you stomp really hard?
Yeah, it was her foot.
Okay.
Part of my shoe made a noise.
Okay. All right, let's get out of this hot alley. We're going to go up around the powder magazine. If you want to stop the recording, you can. Just so that you're not
Is there
gonna
anything
get
worth looking through in there or no?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just an empty courtyard that they use for like wedding receptions.
Okay.
If we had the
Oh,
Phasm
we
cam,
got
maybe,
people.
but probably not going to capture anything with that.
I'm gonna. Oh.
Yeah, there's people coming.
Yeah. Did you guys feel anything walking through there? It just hit my arm again.
Oh, it's cold for a sec.
How you doing, man?
Hey, the one.
Keep leading.
If you want.
Okay.
Because you're going to keep it
Not
on the
available
whole time.
everywhere.
Earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can tighten them up, and it's supposed to tighten up the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the only reason I bring those up is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. We're here because that's what I call it familiar. You guys have seen the TV shows, hopefully, where they've used like that Boo Buddy, where it has like the K2 meter built into it, and they use it to try to attract a child ghost with a teddy bear looking thing. So it's the same principle. The kid will come out because they recognize the teddy bear as a toy.
Gotcha.
And we're here because Anne Bonny would recognize this building because it was being constructed at the same time that she was coming to South Carolina. So the history begins right in the middle of the construction. So try to follow me. There's a couple of twists here. I'll slow down on the twists. So 1708, a young lady moves here named Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far? The three of them are running away from her dad's angry wife. How pissed was she that she booted him out of the country from Ireland to come here? So they land in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation in Georgetown, and then Mom died pretty quickly soon after. So that means he's sending young Anne down here to sell anything from that plantation to, keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building, which is why we're here. However, let's fast forward. Well, actually, we need to take a step backwards. So go back to Ireland when she was just a little girl. They say she actually was a badass back then. At the age of 7, 8, or 9 years old, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. I can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly come out of 3 different spirit boxes with the other 2 people not knowing what's going on with the other 2. If you're getting my point. Happens all the time. Now, fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is pretty stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love, so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world. So the first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful, and we're going to cover them all because that's what makes the story so interesting. So you're getting my point. But anyway, first guy is James Bonny. You already know where this is going, right? We've already mentioned her pirate name. So Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormack became Anne Bonny. So when they get down there, she realizes that...
I swear I just heard Jamaica right when you said it.
She realizes that James, her new husband, is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, because every young lady wants a Captain Jack Sparrow, right? So she falls in love again a few years later. This guy is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just in case you want to know who this guy actually is. He has his own crew, he has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of the crew, but you can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Do you guys know why? Know anything about pirates at all?
Well, I mean, they're lonely out on the seas, but
I normally don't throw that question out there if there's kids in the room, because I do get a lot of those really raunchy answers. It's bad luck. Keep it nice and simple.
Okay.
It's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, dude looks like a lady, which is why I was like, that may have been relevant later on. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, then you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But she's a female in his quarters. She's eventually...
1924? 24?
Being a female in his quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. Can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and Jack let her on. Then I'm going to get rid of Jack as captain. He drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has that kid, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. None of my reading has ever found it. But she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. And what she's going to do to make him even more mad is she's going to go flirt with the pirate crew that he just captured down below deck. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed, like you read a book, is how you spell her name. But her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. Mary went by Mark Reed, by the way, to become a pirate, so the name Mark has been showing up a lot more lately too. But they became friends, but the British find out where they are. They sent an entire fleet of Navy ships to come take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. Anyway, obviously 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a navy of ships. So they get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at Jack and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up a lot on our communication devices. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight, so they're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front. They reveal their gender to the judge, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't give a shit. So they're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was what they shouted next, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know jack squat about her afterwards. It's all speculated. Now, Mary Read, she dies 5 months later in April of 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. So most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I'm going to say let's just call it scurvy and make it nice and romantic, right? We're talking pirates. So in this location, this wall is not your friend, just so you have an idea. I am going to be keeping gauge on the EMF as well, but it's mainly going to be on this back half because the closer I get up there, we do have 2 electrical poles that are going to interfere, and the parking meters will interfere as well. So I want to see if I can get anything back here. You can ask anything you want to, but here's what I left out on purpose, just in case you're lost for words.
Okay.
The names of Anne Bonny's parents. I left that out on purpose, mom and dad, father and a mistress, and then I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship, the city where Anne grew up in Ireland, and the color of her hair, which is easy. That's a red. So, Irish woman. Got to take that for what it is. I think you guys kind of like have the gist. Again, you can poke the bear in here. Not a prominent English woman like what we were discussing with Miss Eliza. So again, I'm going to be hanging out back here, just kind of doing circles and quick laps and see what we can get. You guys can go anywhere in the space, by all means. Have at
Mary Bonny. Or
Anne Bonny.
Anne Bonny.
Mary Read.
Anne Bonny, Mary Read. Okay. Anything of significance from that little hut right there? Because when we first got here, there was a figure there, and I've been eyeing it every little bit, and it's never came back. So I'm like, it's not like it's just like an artifact or something.
Twice, different occasions, we've caught somebody sitting on top of the
It was like someone was leaning right on that garbage can.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were sitting up there, and I'm talking sitting, like full.
Okay.
And then we had a leg swinging, so I knew it wasn't just like from the outline of the garbage can. And I also put myself as a point of reference by walking around it while that person held the camera still to make sure nothing from behind it was being influenced. So they were standing there shooting that way straight, like towards the opposite side of the street, to make sure like nothing around it was being influenced. So I would stand behind it. It was still there on top of my figure. So it definitely wasn't being influenced by, say, the post back there, some of the signs, that kind of thing. So that's how we test things to make sure it's legit.
Okay.
So, but yeah, get it from all angles, see if you can get it back. Again, can you raise your left hand, right hand, whatever hand you want to use? I've seen you asking that back at, the Pinckney Mansion site. But use it if you can, if it's still there for a brief second. And you almost want it to flicker a little bit. Like, I've noticed it's not always going to be that super sharp, like, crystal clear, stay there for 5 seconds kind of thing. It's going to flicker. Okay. We want it to flicker.
So the names are Anne Bonny and Mary
Read.
Anne Bonny, Mary Read. Okay.
You guys got this.
Oh. Anne and Bonny.
And just remember, we do have other trees in here. Those are not your friends either.
Okay.
Marshall.
Hey, Anne. Bonny. Hey, ladies. Anne, can you kick your leg around? Bonny? Is it Anne? Can you move your left arm? Or the name of your parents? What happened to your child in jail? Is that you, Anne? Or is that you, Bonny? You sitting on that garbage can? Nick, I'm getting that. I asked what the name of their kid was. back over here. Or it was. Is that Ann or Bonnie? Right on that garbage can again. Not anymore. But it's like sitting. Yeah, it keeps popping up
It's
right
like
there.
on top of the hut.
Well, it was right there.
Yeah, that's where we caught it. In the
Right there,
house.
like you saw it just sitting there for a second.
It's the top of the hut again.
Is it Ann or is it Bonnie?
It's Ann Bonnie. That's her
Oh,
name.
Ann Bonnie.
Yep.
Ann and Mary. Is it, are you Ann or are you Mary? I think it's Ann. There it is again. Yep, sitting.
You see it. Ann, can you raise your right hand for us? That way we can verify it to you. See how it's moving like different areas?
Yeah.
If it was coming from the garbage can, it would look the same every single time.
Well, it's like they're sitting and then they're standing.
They're all over the place.
This one was wiggling an arm over here. It's on recording. Does this record my voice too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if it tracks. Does it ever track that building
Yeah.
at all? Okay, it
The
might
whole
be that.
building. Yeah, you're not gonna have a ghost.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to like get a little bit of a different angle here.
I think I just heard Mary.
And Bonnie.
What were you focused on?
Do you like coming back here?
Name of her parents.
Her mom's name was Mary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary Brennan.
Mary. If it's Ann,
So
Did
the
you
word
go?
psychic just showed up on my word list. And when I do get psychics on the tour, which is pretty often, and if they make it this far, they always see the same figure standing over there with the same uniform on. And it's weird because it's not a southern uniform. They all tell me the same thing. And I just, like, it's almost like something is telling me, like, hey, something might be going on over there, but with your camera, it's going to be too hard to tell because it's all foliage.
right.
But they always tell me that they see a man wearing dark blue pants and a white shirt standing
Okay.
over there, and they're pretty pissed off that we're there.
Oh,
But
okay.
the funny thing is I can tell you at least 4 times, 4 solid psychics that I was able to verify from the tour have given me that same description without me telling them anything.
Okay.
And that's why I withhold information, especially if I get somebody that's a self-claimed psychic. If I prove them wrong in the middle of our route, they get pissed off and leave.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah, you're not getting anything right.
Right there.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it pop up
And it's coming up in different
consistently.
Yeah.
positions.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
the weird
it's
thing.
been like sitting, it's been chilling,
Yeah.
like
It's
dancing,
moving around.
like leaning up against it. And Bonnie, can you move your right arm if that's you?
It's almost like they just left. Did you see that?
Yeah. No, they're.
They
leaning
just
up.
keep popping, but then
Yeah, they're like moving everywhere.
Mary.
They just went from. Wow. I'm gonna go over and see if I can get a reading.
Okay. It's back.
Oh my gosh. It's right next. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. No. It keeps popping up. It was looking over on you.
It's following you.
That's you now.
Oh, now it's you.
It's still there. What is that little building? Is it like a parking attendant?
Parking attendant hut. And I'm only getting like 0.3s, 0.4s out of it, and that's natural from the earth. And I would actually expect probably up to like a 2 to a 5 out of that lamppost. And I wasn't even getting it above, like, I think the highest I've seen it was like 0.8.
Okay.
So natural EMF from the earth is 1.1.
Okay.
So that's why we go straight to 2.5. And
Okay.
I wasn't getting anything over there whatsoever. Was
Okay.
there something over there at the same time I was?
There was, yeah.
Okay.
Your body wasn't tracking though. Once we got
Yeah,
that
it
far
was, like,
away, it was
looking at you.
tracking you as we followed.
Huh? Yeah.
This is a ghost hunting tour.
No,
So
really.
with equipment, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I hope y'all find something.
Thanks.
So I will say that graveyard, like right down the road there, 3 of us had taps on our shoulder. We thought it was bugs and we kept tapping it off. And we had orbs on all of our pictures. Like all at the same time, all of us got chills.
Oh my gosh.
So like 2 blocks down to the left, that graveyard
Circular
is really
graveyard.
active right now. Like we
Very cool.
literally thought there were bugs.
Wow.
Interesting.
Have a good night.
Yeah. Lars.
It's back. There it is again. So you'd expect there to be some reading. Do you think that might just be anomalous from the
It
the
could
tool?
be, but again, I almost want you to like move this way, but
Okay.
like just basically move sideways
Okay.
like a crab.
All right.
Kind of make sure we're getting the same thing
I got
all the way
you.
around.
I gotcha. Okay, sure.
It's not that I was shrugging her off, but there's always said to be somebody in there.
Right.
'Cause that's
Gets
where
curious.
Yeah, that's where they just left.
Yeah. David.
Is there any?
Is that significant?
We keep getting that name here.
Really?
I don't
Is
know
there?
who it
You
is.
know, what I thought is like, could someone have maybe like been working in that hut and like OD'd or something or?
Possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, right. Who
And it
knows?
could be, for all I know, there's David that we keep getting the name of.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it is. It's always here.
Maybe it's that guy.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I can't find anything relevant. I've dug and dug and dug and dug because it keeps coming up.
I'm gonna try to get up a little closer. Is that all right?
I mean, is there such thing as like a homeless ghost that like, you know, they just were they
David?
hung out when they were alive?
Hey, David. Is this you? Oh my gosh. David. Didn't mean to call you a woman. Its name. Hey, David. Maybe.
Hospital to die.
David, can you move your right arm if that is David?
Yeah.
Mary.
Still there beside?
Yep.
I'm going to walk behind the hut to kind of verify it's not anything behind it.
Okay, it's gone now, but yeah, okay. It might be tracking it as the garbage can, but it seems that... Okay, I see you. Okay, now I see you behind it. No. No, it's not.
Let's see if we wrap this one up. We got enough footage for me to be able to either clarify or debunk if it's the garbage can or not. But with all those different positions and moving from left and right the way that
It was like, it looked like it was interacting with you when you were over there earlier.
Yeah, it was like looking,
kinda
kind of
following you and
looking at you.
and kind of.
Yeah.
And I have people like, 'cause I get approached all the time. What are you guys doing? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look like I'm telling stories.
Yeah.
I don't always go into the sales pitch just because they just left a $20 tour. And once they find out like what we're doing, and yeah, I have the equipment and all the cool shit, but it's not always a like, hey, let me give you my card kind of thing. Just
Right.
because, again, I like when people find me. I like being the underground guy. So let's kind of cover the answers, and we'll explain a little bit more about like what we're going to be doing at the next location because it is our last stop.
Okay.
So, by the way, this location is one of the reasons why I give that heated warning at the top of our night. About a year and a half ago, it was in September. I remember that much. I don't remember the exact date, but it was nice and cool. And I took my team to the back like I normally do, and the kid next to me literally starts to faint. He's passing out on us. He's like 21, 22 years old. I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. Like, he's dropping fast. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over to this wall. We sat him down and gave him a bottle of water. He's then feeling better. I then told the story of Ann Bonnie. This used to be the last stop. So anyway, I spread everybody out, go have fun, last hurrah, whatever. These two guys pull me aside. Nick, we have to tell you, we are two transgender males. Two females, just like males. Just like Ann and Mary in the story on the tour. So it makes sense, but it's still unexplainable at that point. So I get a lot of psychics and mediums on the tour. Most of them, if they're practicing every day, don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion. If I know that they're psychic or medium, they're definitely not getting a spirit box because that's too many messages coming in. Again, I take this very seriously, as I'm sure you guys can already tell that piece. So the questions to, or the answers to, we already kind of figured out what the mom's name was, which is weird that you got that by itself because normally the parents' names will come up on their own, like together as one unit. And the father's name was William Cormack, so we normally get like William and Mary in one phrase, not just Mary and then somebody else will hear William. It's normally just one phrase. It's weird that you... Right in between this bush and this pole right here, and we had a full figure with the feet just kind of hovering right about here.
Okay.
So I wanted to take a look, because nobody else has ever caught that before. But this is the cemetery where the lady just said that they all felt somebody tapping on their shoulder. And there is said to be a Civil War ghost in there, but I've never caught anything in there. So, if this cemetery wraps all the way around.
Nothing for now.
I wanted to look at the space physically. I don't think I've ever...
Hold on. There's something. Can you move your right arm?